Small business is about courage, risk-taking, independence, and we small business owners are survivors. Everybody has an idea for a business, but how do you take that idea from mind to market? This is the place to learn.
Small Business School.
It's a new kind of school. Together we'll learn about business from the inside out, from the people who've done it. We'll meet the men and women who are today's pioneers and quiet heroes. Their lives are the textbooks. Our classroom is the world.
Small Business School is made possible by support from the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. There's no wait at the post office in your own office. USPS.com is waiting for you.
Hi, I'm Hattie Bryant. It's the best of times and the worst of times. We have superpowers at our fingertips, yet bad things can happen to good people, and all that power can turn to darkness overnight. So we turn to several experts and many small business owners to learn how to protect ourselves from natural disasters and nasty people. 9/11 rained down devastation, destruction, and death. Fires, winds, rains, and earth have destroyed billions in assets, including thousands of small businesses. The San Diego fires burned hundreds of thousands of acres, turning homes and businesses into ash and rubble. If your business was hit by a physical catastrophe, would your valuable data be safely stored in another location? Hector Barreto is the administrator of the Small Business Administration.
During September the 11th, 90% of the recipients of disaster loans were businesses, and only 10% were homeowners and renters.
Every year, millions of SBA dollars help victims of physical disaster. And every day, these people help us prevent cyber disaster caused by nasty people armed with viruses and ill intent. In this episode, you'll meet David Perry of Trend Micro.
What is a virus? A virus is any program that makes copies of itself.
Robin Matlock of McAfee Security.
As soon as you connect onto the internet, if you don't have proper protection in place, you're a sitting duck.
And Art Wong of Symantec.
People who go on the internet, use email, and surf, they don't deserve to be broken into. They don't deserve to get viruses. They don't deserve to get worms or blended threats.
These are the good guys to help us keep the bad guys out and our businesses running. But first, let's look at securing our data from natural disasters.
We've always backed up our system, and during the fires, I thought, wow, you know, it's been a while since I've been in touch with the actual details of what happens with our system, and I called our VP of Operations and I said, Ron, do we have our tape, you know, our backup tape? I know we back up, but do we have it secure? Is it in the facility? Do I need to go to the office and get it? He says, no, it's our policy to remove that tape every night. I didn't want my place to burn down, but if it did, at least I could recreate my customer orders and all of those things. It would be devastating if I couldn't.
Brian, how many years ago did you think you started taking the tape home every night?
It's probably been about 10 years, I'd say.
10 years, every night,
yeah.
Mr. Discipline.
Mm-hmm. And it continues today. And we check the backups to make sure they're good backups every night.
Brian Jacobson and Glenn Bealey of Seattle-based Madison Park Greeting, and Vicki Carlson, owner of San Diego's Office Pavilion, never leave the valuable data stored in their computers to chance.
Well, Hattie, Office Pavilion is an office furniture dealership, and that's a little word for a lot of things.
I guess that was it.
We have space planners that will go in and work with the customer to lay out the space, do programming to understand how they work, what kind of environment they have, so that we can create a solution of products to fit within their environment, their space, that works with their culture.
Our niche is selling high-end products to finer independent stores. And we do that both through our own product line, Madison Park Greetings, and through our strategic partnerships with other publishers in the industry that previously ran their own companies and now folded their operations into our headquarters here in Seattle. But we run those companies under their own brands, and they keep the creative control.
Do you remember when this company did not have a computer?
I remember my mother doing all invoices by hand at home after dinner and sending them out and having a little card file for the people that had paid and the people who hadn't paid.
And that's something we talk about a lot is, you know, technology 5, 6, 7 years ago, we really said, let's make sure that we continue to invest in that pretty aggressively. And so we keep upgrading our systems.
Okay.
And obviously computer's central to that.
When we first started on the computers in design, that was the big revolution for our industry to really help us streamline our processes and start cutting the time down. It was, oh my God, we never want to go back to tallying up the parts and pieces. What would and that brings you to the next question, how safe are these computers? Pretty new for us.
Right.
You know, how safe is the data?
Ron Bush is Vicky's VP of Operations.
We have a series of redundant backups. We take the most current Friday tape, and we take the most current Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday tape home with us off-site, so that if anything should happen to the facility, we have 2 tapes that are fairly current data sources that we have off-site. And so twice a week, our Monday morning and a Wednesday morning, we actually physically look at the data that was backed up the night before from the tape. We'll find a file that's dated within those 2 or 3 days, restore that file and actually open it up and make sure we can read it and access it and everything, so that we know we're not getting false positives. And when we go to put a tape back in the system to restore from that tape, we know there's data there that's accurate.
To keep computing systems humming at Madison Park Greeting, Brian and Glenn hired Tracy Armour full-time after he had worked for them for years on a contract basis.
What's going on? I think you have to prepare for the worst case scenario at all times, just in case. I mean, your data is probably one of the most important assets in your business. And you have to ask yourself the question, you know, what would happen if I lost this data? Something that happened just right away, or has it been going on for a while? The network has grown quite a bit. We've added 2 firewalls, first of all, to protect the data behind on our network from the outside world. We're still implementing a tape backup process that has grown more complex. Now we have 2 backup drives.
So are you the one that does it?
I do, every day. We back up the servers every day.
Where do you take the tape?
We use a rotation strategy. There's always at least 3 copies of the data off-site. I keep one at home, Brian keeps one at his house, and we also have one in another secure location.
I don't think this will ever happen again. So,
Susanna Persa owns DanceWorks, located near Seattle, and she wasn't prepared when her hard drive crashed.
Nothing. Everything gone.
Do you keep a database in your computer?
We do. We have Access database and run everything from there. Okay. So we rely on it a lot. You know, I was devastated because everything that we had, you know, from day one of even building this place was on that computer. And so trying to even like think about how we're going to retrieve this data was just more than I could bear. And I was literally stressed beyond belief. Yeah.
Did you cry?
A lot.
You did?
Swore a lot. Swore a lot. At the machine, and thank God it's too big that I couldn't throw out the window, because otherwise I probably would have done that too. Yeah. We use our computers so much for this business. I mean, even contact information to be able to call a student is there.
But now it's gone.
It's gone. QuickBooks, all our accounting, it's there and it's all gone. You know, for me, I'm the type of person that if something happens once, okay, but it will never happen again.
Lesson learned.
Absolutely.
We had a hard drive crash and we lost our data. And we were not able to retrieve the data off the hard drive, but fortunately we were able to go back onto one of our tapes and retrieve the data.
Wow. We've just learned that while some business owners are diligent about protecting the data in their computers, many have suffered great loss. Because our time is so short in this 30-minute program, we've placed detailed information about disaster preparation, protection, and security on our website, smallbusinessschool.org. We have links to all the people you will meet here. You'll learn now that you must shield yourself from viruses, worms, Trojan horses, adware, and spyware, as these are enemies all poised to do damage. The good news is there are thousands of good people We call them the White Hats. They are security experts, and they're working hard to help us win the daily battle against the nasty Black Hats, those creeps that crash our systems, kill business continuity, and infect us with suspicions, uneasiness, and doubt.
Here we are, we live in a world where we've developed a whole lot of elaborate internet capabilities.
This is David Perry, Global Director of Education for Trend Micro.
But along with that comes the threats that are inherent in those things. Easy to use is easy to use, easy to install is easy to install, easy to hack is easy to hack, and that's the world that we live in today. The most important thing about your computer environment is not the computer. All of the information that you keep on your computer is important. That's why you have a computer, is to deal with data. Information is property. And if you're going to protect that information, you better start thinking about it now.
This is an evolving issue, right? It's not that you can take one point in time, protect yourself once, and then be done with it. This is something that needs maintenance. It needs nurturing. It's something you water like a plant. Once a week, you make sure it's growing and healthy. You trim the bad, and you really must nurture your infrastructure to keep yourself protected and productive.
I met Robin Matlock, Vice President of Product Marketing for the McAfee Systems Security Group, one of the largest white hat companies in the world.
With small businesses, so by that I mean the real small businesses, we define that as maybe 100 employees or less. Most times, not always, but most times you'll find those business owners don't have a dedicated person on staff to help them with their IT issues. Right. So it's the principal or the president or the office manager who happens to be a little more technical than their peers, and that person takes on the responsibility of the computers in the environment. So often they don't have any background in these areas, and yet they're responsible for trying to maintain all the security of the small business. And we find that that's kind of an unrealistic expectation. They need solutions that are very easy to use, easy to deploy, because they're not IT experts. They need solutions that aren't designed for IT experts.
Right. As a small business owner, what should I be nervous about regarding my systems?
Well, first of all, Hattie, there's about 60 to 70,000 known viruses floating around out there today. As soon as you connect onto the internet, if you don't have proper protection in place, you're a sitting duck.
I learned more about viruses from Art Wong, Vice President of Symantec Security Response. Symantec is famous for its Norton antivirus software, which sits on 120 million desktops worldwide. This company is another force for good, helping us fight the bad and the ugly.
Well, best practice is that you shouldn't open attachments from people that you're unfamiliar with in terms of receiving emails from, or if it seems unusual that someone may be sending you emails regarding a particular topic or with particular attachments that are attached to it. You should always be wary and very diligent about who you're getting email from, what you're reading, and what you're opening. And to prevent a lot of that, if you have good antivirus software that's up to date, it'll stop a lot of that. It'll stop a lot of the email viruses that most people get. People who go on the internet, use email, and surf, they don't deserve to be broken into. They don't deserve to get viruses. They don't deserve to get worms or blended threats. And all they have to do as a first step is really install the software, the common sense software that they can get anywhere to just do that type of protection to prevent them from getting the next virus or worm or blended threat.
We can't be too busy to do this. We have to stop and do it.
We absolutely have to stop and do it today. It doesn't take very much time at all. It's actually pretty simple.
What is a virus? A virus is any program that makes copies of itself. That's what a virus is. Recursively makes copies of itself. Trojans are viruses that don't replicate. It's a dirty trick that just sits in one place. Usually they have a wrapper, like the Trojan horse, okay? Yes. Right, and you know, it'll show up and it'll be a game, it's a screensaver, it's a whatever, and someone will run it, and the next thing they know, their computer is open to the internet, and the person who wrote that can control them from afar. There are zombies that are used in denial of service attacks. You know, there's adware and spyware, which is growing rapidly as a threat. So you really need protection across a range, a spectrum spread of malicious content. It is content security.
What we have there is a McAfee software that protects our entire pipeline from internet to workstation. We have a desktop version of the software that scans everything that's opened by that particular workstation. We also have a server version that patrols any emails that come in, any attachments associated with those emails, etc. So it's on everybody's workstation. The user at that workstation doesn't have to think about it.
In addition to their own data or their own information and assets that can be stolen or compromised, home users, small businesses, their computer systems can be used to attack other computer systems worldwide, unknowing to them. They can be very easily infected by worms and viruses without them knowing, and then those computer systems are then used to attack other computer systems.
Does the firewall help? Is that a beginning point to keep the creeps out?
Absolutely a beginning point, but there is no silver bullet here. Unfortunately, we can't give small businesses a magic pill that they can swallow and they can basically cover all their security issues in one pill. They're going to need firewalling technologies, and I would recommend both at their perimeter, which means as people come out, either go inside out or outside into their environment, but also resident on their desktops. I'd recommend an antiviral solution like a virus scan or a service like an ASAP services. And then they probably need to consider a VPN. If they're remote workers, if the principal is dialing in at night, he wants to go home early, anytime he's remotely accessing his resources into the environment, he needs also VPN technology. So there's a series of things they're going to need.
So almost all the upside of mobility and ubiquitous computing has brought with it the downside of hazard.
Yep, that is the paradox. It's on one hand, we're trying to open up our networks and our environment so that we can collaborate with our partners, we can be more in touch with our customers, our employees can have more flexible work hours. At the same time, every time we do that, we're opening up holes in our environment. And for every good guy that can communicate through those channels, so can bad guys.
Well, I think my main goal here is to protect all the data. So it's a constant battle on that front to go through all the workstations, and a lot of times I'll go through and just manually sit down at each terminal and clean off any hardware, software that's been downloaded that shouldn't be there, and apply any necessary patches or updates.
We update as much as once a day, Hattie. It's there's a situation going here where we're discovering new things all the time, and where some of these things come from is that a good guy researcher will discover something and then publish it, and then after a period of time, that the publishing is read by a bad guy who takes it and turns it into a virus. So when your operating system says that it needs to be updated, do the update. The only reason those viruses got out was that the available update in the world wasn't being used by people because they thought, well, let's wait. There's no need to do it until a virus shows up. Well, then when the virus shows up, you're hosed. These things don't take months to spread around the world anymore. The blaster worm spread to 350,000 computers in 10 minutes. Okay, this is an amazing thing that they're able to do it. When you see the update available, do it.
So David, if I buy a new computer today and new software today, it's already going to improve my situation.
Yes, in general. In aggregate, that is true. That's true. A new computer will be more secure. The new operating systems are more secure than they had been in the past.
Because I could take all the new stuff that's out there and add it on, pile it on my 4 or 5-year-old computer or 4 or 5-year-old operating system.
No, if you use a 5-year-old computer, the first thing you have to do is to replace your computer. Okay?
I went to Redmond and the campus of Microsoft to meet Lori Newman, Marketing Director for Small Business.
Technology is evolving, and I think for the small business customer, it's evolving without them realizing it.
I'm working on a deadline. I'm always working on a deadline. I'm always in a hurry. There's never enough time, and up pops a screen, a pop-up from you guys. Microsoft is suggesting that you update your software. Do I really have to do it right then?
Yes, you do. And it's simple. Update your software. It will only take a few minutes.
Yeah, but then I have to power down, I have to save my document.
Hattie, you don't need to. Take the time to do that, and then the next time you power up your PC, it will have saved the changes.
It automatically does it?
It does. It's very simple, and take the time to do it. It only takes a few minutes.
So what would you say to people that are just like me who haven't upgraded hardware or software in 3 or 4 years?
I would say take the time and make the investment to upgrade. Our technology has advanced so much, and from a security perspective as well, security is Microsoft's #1 priority. And we continue to upgrade our software. And we work with the the PC providers out there as well to make it simpler and easier for small business customers. It's like airbags, you know, how can you imagine driving your car now without airbags?
Okay, so we need to get the newest that we can possibly do and just go through the pain of the change, and we'll be happier on the other side.
Absolutely, yeah. It's for the future of your business.
Lori just said, take the updates, and we're warning you now, do not take any patches or updates through email. Updates will never ever come to you via email. Don't be fooled. We received these too. Looks like Microsoft security. They are not. These came through some zombie as a blended threat. An official update will look like this. Except these, this type of pop-up will appear. We've got to be constantly learning and on guard.
We're kind of at that point now of doing it again just because of the increase in sales and the increase of workers here, of employees, that we need to expand our network a little bit. So we probably take a look at our hardware infrastructure about every 6 months and reanalyze it and see where we can improve it.
Well, there was a time where our server was pretty sick, and I was actually quite worried about our data for a while there, and we ended up upgrading our server. But when I had that nice backup and it said 100% complete, it would make me feel secure.
He always enjoyed saying, in this little tape, I have all the essential elements of our company.
Yeah, right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
When you said you thought your server was sick, what gave you the signal that you thought it was sick?
Well, Tracy was telling me it was sick. I mean, it was chugging and chugging and chugging, and
taking too long.
And you know, the hard drive was very, very full, and there were, you know, crashes that were happening quite often, and rebooting and all that kind of stuff. And it was Tracy kept saying, you know what, you really need to step up to a new server, and we've actually added I think we've got 3 more servers. So we've added since we did that upgrade.
Over the last 3 years, there's been a lot of continual investment.
Yeah,
but we took a big leap in 3 years ago, and now we're looking at continually upgrading and then probably taking a bigger leap at that point.
You only notice it when it's not working. That's the key. And so we just like to have people not be aware that there's a new server. They just, as long as they're working and their stuff's getting through, then they're okay.
But I would say that the future of internet security rests on 4 legs. First, the operating systems and applications that we use have to be more secure. And I can tell you that the people who make, the people at Microsoft and the people who make your applications are paying a lot of attention to this. This is job 1 today for many people in the computer industry. And the hardware, too, needs to be more secure. 2, you need better security applications. You need better antivirus, better firewalls. And I can tell you we're all busting our buns out here trying to create that. 3, user education. And that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're talking to the users. They need to know. They need to know. You need to know. They need to know that they need better security now and in the future. And finally, the rule of law. The laws of the world need to catch up with the internet, and that'll take us to a more secure future. Those 4 legs: applications and operating systems, better security applications, user education, and the rule of law. That gives us a more secure tomorrow.
Most people are not aware that they have something valuable and that other people can get access to it and steal it or damage it.
You know what, really more of our challenge, it's not about the hacker, our challenge is awareness. It's about reaching out to that small business owner and helping them identify what the challenges are and how they're going to get them addressed.
That's the key to our success, is having good products, and it's all done on computers now. We have to have a streamlined, digitized, automated method to manufacture our products.
Yeah. The data is so important to our livelihood. I can't imagine, Hattie, what would happen to us if we lost all of our data and we had nothing but hard files to go into, because there was so much detail and the design that we'd have to recreate. I mean, it would be devastating to my business. It really would be.
Civilization is a process, okay? And it's been said too many times, but the internet's still in the Wild West. And it's not just Marshall Dillon coming into town that's going to fix that. We need street lights, and we need the invention of the Brinks truck, and we need safes, and we need sidewalks, and we need the doctor and the lady milliner who lives down on the corner and all that stuff. We need civilization to come to the internet.
So you're definitely one of the guys with the white hat.
Oh, that would be me. But I'm not really I'm not the marshal. I'm more the kindly old doctor. So, but that's still a white hat part, you know.
These are the white hats, but they can't help us unless we stop being our own worst enemy by pretending the security of the data in our computers is not a problem. Here's our advice. Upgrade your hardware and software if yours is more than 3 years old. Take the updates issued by the operating system. Install and keep current antivirus software. Apply a firewall. Add a virtual private network if you or your employees access your office computers remotely. And remember, back up your hard drive daily. I'll see you next time.
Small Business School is made possible by support from the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. There's no wait at the post office in your own office. USPS.com is waiting for you.
If you want to learn more about starting, running, and growing a business, come to our website, smallbusinessschool.org. There's streaming video and interactive study guides. The only way we can compete with big business is to be faster, smarter, and better. We are the engine of the American economy. We create the jobs. Small business is about big commitment. It's about sacrifice and struggle. But we do it because we say, if I don't do this, my life won't be complete.